Yeah, let's like have a little bit of a talk about recent stuff. Yeah, so obviously Demon's released, and I am incredibly positive on Demon. I think I've made that pretty obvious to everyone now. Demon is incredible. They are perfect for 6v6. If anyone doesn't have problems in 5v5, it's specifically because the character doesn't have enough lethality in general. I think the Demon doesn't need any end lag reduction on her bash. I don't think she needs any vertical mobility on her bash. I think she's perfect as she is, and screw you if your 5v5ers want her to be able to go up, etc, etc, etc. Though I do have spoilers on quite a lot of this, I have not looked into specifically what the Lifeweaver pull is and other things like that. I know that Jetpack Cat's been buffed a ludicrous amount, and that's been seeing a very high ban rate and a very high win rate as well, 65% and up in high-level play. Several underutilized perks have been replaced with new options, while others have been adjusted based on their performance. We've also updated ultimate costs for select heroes to better align with time required to earn them, with their overall effectiveness while adjusting the hero balance. That's Demon's release. His sub-roll flanker passive, additional healing been reduced from 75 to 50. I think that should be reduced to 0 and the sub-roll passive been removed, but I also think that was a little bit too good, especially on characters like Vendetta, just too high. I'm fine with that in general. Domina, Panopticon's barrier health is being increased to improve its reliability. A higher health pool makes it more difficult for enemies to break free, increasing the likelihood of a detonation or forcing them to spend more time dealing with the ultimate. Yeah, I don't think I ever saw Panopticon not break. But also I think it has a kind of like weird flow to Panopticon because it will always be more effective against targets that are isolated because people can't break them, but also it's an AoE ultimate, so you're inclined to put it through people and hit multiple people for more value. So it's this kind of like very weird gameplay where the majority of the time you cannot afford to use your ult in order to isolate one person, or so you never really get value with the barrier exploding because they always kind of get broken. Go playing plat, people just stop doing things when they're locked inside a shield. Okay, maybe I'm in my own bubble there. But I don't think Panopticon was crazy good, especially because at the low ranks people mostly missed it. So I don't think there's that many problems with increasing the health bar of it. Even in 6v6, I think 6v6 is an interesting AoE ultimate. Doomfist. Increased seismic slams damage, makes it more effective tool for weakening targets before following up with Doomfist's other abilities. So we didn't do this in the first place in 6v6 for a reason. It was because Doom's AoE damage was ludicrous, and increasing his AoE damage is sucky. Doomfist is I think Doomfist is a dead end of design in terms of tank in the current format because the gun does so much damage when it crits, and it's so unpredictable, and therefore he is so lethal. I think he's just toxic in general, and he's even more toxic when you give him a bigger health bar instead of giving a smaller health bar and enabling counterplay like in the DPS category. So I think Doomfist in 6v6 always going to be more healthy than DPS. If he was like this in 5v5, I'd want to change his gun to make it not be able to headshot crit. So the ability to be able to do that is less impactful. And then I would remove the wall stun off empowered punch because I think it's mostly completely unintentional if you do get hit into the wall by a Doomfist, and you can't really play around that. It's just like the Doomfist is punching you, and also tap punches have been cancerous for ages and other things like that. Tank Doomfist has so many problems, and I think that increasing the seismic slam damage in 6v6 is really problematic. But there, yeah, improve Empower Punch. Remove Empower Punch completely. I actually don't mind Empower Punch. I think Empower Punch is really bad in combination with the incredibly high single target damage of the gun. I think Empower Punch is mostly predictable. Hitbox is obviously way too big for the most part. Hits aged above him. I've seen so many examples like that. In general, I think the game would be better if Doomfist was removed entirely. But I'd like it more in the DPS category, especially in the 6th. Hazard, ultimate cost increased by 7%. Reduce the number of Bone Spur hits required by 14 to 12 to do the explosive impalements. Okay, that wasn't used in any way, shape, or form. Ultimate cost increase. Was Hazard too good? This is just penny pinching in numbers. Spiley has this adjustment to Season 9 health pool for slam damage. Well, that's true, Rogue. However, the adjustment to 6v6 has also not been done. So, in 5v5, they need the extra damage. In 6v6, they need approximately 1/5 less damage. It is what it is, right? We all know how this scales. You need 1/5 less damage on AoE sources in general. They're likely to be able to hit multiple people for 6v6. So boring playing for block and punching the tank. I agree in general. If we removed Empower Punch and made his regular punch AoE-ish like Empower Punch, we just removed the empowered generating system where we empowered the regular punch and balanced it accordingly. Do you think that would be okay? I think that's probably the way I'd like it to go. Do you think Doom as a tank is bad for 6v6? I think he's just too lethal in general. Mauga, increasing overrun's cooldown, lengthens the window where Mauga must commit to a fight before he can disengage, reducing his mobility without directly impacting his ability to engage. So combat fuel major perk, overhealth gain per shot increased to 4, and then overrun cooldown increased from 5 to 6 seconds in 5v5. I don't care, it's a 5v5 change. The combat fuel wasn't ever used, so that's cool. One note about combat fuel, kind of putting a hat on a hat, isn't it? I mean, immortal plus some health is still immortal. Realistically, the majority of the time, cardiac is so good that you're always using it selfishly in order to live forever. Regardless, it's very rare that you can't just cardiac and live. It's only there for poke-based scenarios, but in poke-based scenarios, you're just not using cardiac until everything's crunching anyway. So, yeah. Mago's Stomp does too much crit damage in 6v6. I think the crit box is too big in 6v6. I don't think it does too much damage. But I agree that needs to be scaled by approximately a fifth, like everything else. Orisa, Charge Javelin major perk removed. Heavy Javelin major perk new. Energy Javelin's knockback is increased by 25%, and its wall impact damage is increased by 15. So Charge Javelin was a bit problematic. Heavy Javelin's not really... It's kind of a downgrade in the idea that it's not as transformative as Charge Javelin. Charge Javelin and the shield were kind of like the only perk that people could point to and say, hey, this is a cool thing that perks can do that other things can. And now they're kind of like removing that because yeah, Charge Javelin was pretty bad, but the idea was interesting. Just power creep for the sake of perks. Yeah, it just seems like it. Increased knockback and increased wall damage is just more burst damage, yeah. In general, I'm going to say, I think that wall damage is a bad mechanic that shouldn't be put into games unless specifically the character doing the damage has a way to manipulate their position in order to make that damage predictable for the enemy and more interesting in the way they apply it to the enemy. Orisa has no way to manipulate her position, and so the only way to play around it is just to never stand near a wall with this heavy javelin, which is just fucking awful. It's so bad. Having two trade-off perks is kind of bad if both of the downsides suck too much for the situation. I don't think that Charge Javelin with a trade-off perk, I think it was just badly made. It was closer to interesting, though. Winston, ultimate cost reduced by 6%. Winston's whatever. Vitalizing Barrier major perk healing increased from 30 to 35, so it's increased from nothing to nothing. Vitalizing Barrier I talked about a couple of days ago. It's kind of disappointing to me that the barrier heals, and the barrier healing, because of the 7 point per unit of damage into armor, is significantly better on Winston than it around Winston. Really, the healing that it does is so minimal that it's basically useless on anyone other than Winston when he dives, and it makes him fucking immortal. Is that like terrible situation where it's not doing the thing that it's intended to do, and it's instead giving Winston more just straight power in his brawl cycle? It's kind of crazy to me, kind of stupid. It's a Zen Orb. But Zen Orb on armor is really good. It's one of the reasons why Zen's so boring and Mizuki's so boring, Wu Yang's so boring with their passive heals. Because the amount of healing they can do to armor and the amount of extra resources and power they get from putting that on armor outstrips the ability to be able to peel and re-heal people that are on lower health angle. Because it's more efficient, and also the ability to be able to heal people up in a fast way has just been made unimportant due to the higher health pools and the bigger amount of your health that you burn before being healed back up. So yeah, do you think they should experiment with things that temporarily make it so all HP is treated like armor? I wanted that for Soldier heal floor. Why would they make it so that temporary make it so all HP is treated like armor? Sure, okay, that's something you could do. I guess the question is, would you be doing the same things as you do with armor? Armor's this interesting thing where the original intention was armor was for it to stop flex DPS being able to stand in contested terrain and spam the tank and be able to chip them down so they can't do anything, right? That was the point of armor. It's that extra layer on your health that stops the flex DPS being able to chip. Now it's in a situation the flex DPS can't do anything to the tank because they're basically useless. They're always at 50% reduction, even if they're headshotting 3/4 of the time. And then the characters like Ashe are now doing more damage with headshots, so they can just break through armor anyway. Really, you're doing damage reduction at a certain point, aren't you? Is there any difference in damage reduction with that experiment? I guess there could be, but I don't think I'd like an ability that turns off a tracer in a backline. It's very strong. Very strong. It's basically a full peel. If you turn 50 HP into armor for 10 seconds, for 3-4 seconds, that would be a full peel against Tracer. And I don't really like that as a concept. It would have to be very light. And again, you'd be so disincentivized from shooting that even 25, you probably just choose a different target. So it's hard to balance. And it's not only hard to balance, but it affects different characters in such a different way that in order to make it okay, you'd have to make it very weak. So yeah, it's the same thing as the overhealth thing. Can we have overhealth in our game? Yes, but it probably shouldn't be more than 20. Okay, then do we really want overhealth in our game, right? That's the answer. You can have healthy overhealth, but the way that it affects different characters, unless it proportionately percentage health-based overhealth, is different. Cool. Cassidy, even the odds minor perk removed. The Giddy Up minor perk. After using combat roll, Cassidy gains a 60% movement speed boost that decays over 1.5 seconds. Get fucked 5v5. Echo, aerial munitions, major minor perk. I do not want movement creep for the sake of movement creep, just because of perks. New, Echo has infinite flight during ammo during flight. Sure, okay. High beams major perk removed. Focus rush major perk moved from major to minor. Focusing beams range. 1 second, sorry, I'm very yawny today. Is increased by 8 meters and movement speed is increased by 25% when active. Range increased from 6 to 8 meters, movement speed increased to 25%. So that's been buffed minor to major. So it's been buffed in order to move it to major. That's really good though. I remember when Soldier was the only hit scout who had speed and self-healing. Yeah. Infinite ammo still mid. I think it's still mid. I think it would be a bit better in 6v6 if spam was enabled in 6v6 in some way, shape, or form. Echo's a purposeful, I think this was purposeful, recipient of less damage to armor due to having 3 separate damage mitigations against the armor. It's always going to reduce her damage per bullet by 21. What's Echo's damage per bullet at the moment? Does 17 per pellet. So there you go. Echo's getting 7 out of 17 reduction. 30% reduction? Yeah, 30%, 40%. 40%? You know what, let's calculator it. We do it the wrong way around. 41% reduction. So it's a really big reduction from Echo's shots just because it's split in 3. Which was purposeful, I think, because Echo's a character that can hate on tanks really, really badly. And I think it's a very cool portion of Echo's design that it is trying. That Echo perk doesn't use her normal ammo reserve? Interesting. Phantom Search, which wiki is it? There was a new one made. I forgot what I saw on a Reddit post. I'll find it now. Overwatch.weirdgloop.org. I'll link that so you guys can bookmark it. Seems to be everything. It's actually easier to scroll. That's so much better without all the ads everywhere. Holy G. The devs have to spread the word about that website. What W, man. Blorp. Yeah, make sure you bookmark it. Echo has very high damage and always had very high damage. And when Echo released, they had a higher clip and therefore one of the highest sustained damage to tanks in the game. They actually could spam pure damage out faster than most. And this was balanced by, the armor changes, but we've gone from the armor changes being, so it's gone from 30% reduction to 40% reduction, which have basically made it so that spamming tanks on Echo is completely fucking useless. So I'm not really worried about aerial munitions being too much spam because they are literally dealing 10% less damage than they used to when they were in a point where they could actually hit on tanks. And they were balanced for that for a reason to begin with, and we have made it so that, it is what it is, right? Emre, ultimate cost reduced by 6%, slow duration increased from 1 to 1.5 seconds on suppressive security. Excellent, so now I get infinite health and infinite range. Emre's in the sky, murdering the entire lobby in 6v6. Thank you so much! I really appreciate that. Awful. Genji ultimate cost reduced by 6%. I think that's Pharah. Comp Blast provides Pharah with both mobility and displacement. Increasing its cooldown reduces how often she can reposition herself and disrupt enemy movement. Comp Blast provides mobility and displacement. Interestingly, on the point of armor there, one interesting note with Emre is that one of the reasons why Emre is so bad in general is that he has a very, very big weakness to specifically. So Emre deals... what was it per bullet? 22 bullet per bullet against armor, which is and that's the same as Soldier in a way. But characters like Ashe and Hanzo break through armor. Emre doesn't get to break through armor with almost any of the stuff that he does. At least with Soldier, Helix breaks through armor, but Emre has to throw a grenade in order to do that, and it's so much of a kit they can't really afford to do that in order to just, I don't know, chunk somebody in order to be able to damage them. He has to be kill threat in order to be bothering throwing a grenade in the first place. So Emre deals, what, 22? Been reduced to 15 now. It's a real big reduction against armor there. Farah, Conk Blast provides Farah with both mobility and displacement. Increasing its cooldown reduces how often she can reposition herself and disrupt enemy movement. Cooldown increased from 7 to 8 seconds. Why? Hello, Didact. Nice to see you. It's been fine, thank you. I'm loving Demon. I don't know about you. You're a tank player. How are you feeling about Demon? I'm loving the character. They're amazing. I'm so happy for the buffs to come through. The only thing I think is that the baby form should have the normal gun's damage. That makes sense. I don't know why it's less. That makes no sense whatsoever. And also, in addition to that, I think the range of the normal hits should be increased by about 0.5 meter. And I think literally the character is perfect. How are you feeling? I think Demon's right up your alley. I played her. I played day 1 and didn't get to try her. And I didn't have time due to Spider-Man's and my promotion. Congratulations! Congratulations, man. I'm sure you worked hard for it. Demon is a character that is made for you. You're gonna fucking love it. Be prepared to be happy, okay? Like, genuinely, Didact, this is a you thing, okay? So you got a promotion, and you got a new Overwatch hero that you can actually enjoy. And God, they feel good. Oh, I feel so good. I love them. Didact is Spider-Man now. I would assume that Didact might have seen the movie, but he may be Spider-Man. Who can tell? Honestly, what is Spider-Man when it comes down to it, right? Conk increased to 8 seconds. Just seems like, I don't know. I don't like mobility being decreased. There's damage on it. Rogue says, isn't it balanced by Echo Stickies being better against armor now? Also extra sticky perk. Better against armor now, meaning it still gets hit twice by the reduction, doesn't it? Yeah. So the direct hits being halved, so that's doing 2.5 per hit against armor instead of 5. And it's 25 explosion damage, which have been reduced by 7 each. So that's going down to 18. So is a significant reduction. Far enough because the perks are OP? I can't even remember what Farah's perks. It's been a long time since I've seen Farah played, to be fair. I'm now an official projectionist. I get to make the playlist for the cinema and do maintenance work on projectors and stuff. That's really interesting, man. That's really interesting. I'm proud of you. You deserve it. Get the moolah. Get the moolah. I bet they're paying you exactly the same amount they were. Shion. You know, I've seen some snippets of shit like Avengers Doomsday. Ooh, interesting. Avengers Doomsday is like the Marvel movie that everyone's like, I'll watch it when it comes out. And they're just waiting for all the other Marvel movies to be over. Spider-Man, I don't know how Spider-Man ended up getting people back into Marvel. It seems like since Endgame, they really haven't been popular, and then it's been a long time of just trash. And now we're finally getting Spider-Man and then Doomsday coming out at some point in the future. So Spider-Man's great. I haven't seen it. I think it's weird that Spider-Man's kind of like this evergreen character. People love Spider-Man, man. Shion, this change better aligns with the impact radius and the size of the motorbike, requiring players to either be more accurate with the ground launch or rely on the air launch. Joyride ground launch detonation radius reduced from 1.5 to 1 meter. Sure, yeah, good change. I don't really... The AoE component I think is interesting, but it's such a big burst, and it seems so unintentional the majority of the time that I don't really mind it being a little bit more impactful. Interestingly, here it's a detonation radius and not the AoE. If it was the AoE, I'd be a negative on it and 6v6 in general. Did you watch the Spider-Verse movies? People love Tom Holland. What, you mean the guy that's in every single movie I've ever watched? There have been 3 very well-written movies with him in it. Spider-Man is always crazy popular when a movie happens. Good on Sony having a contract that forces them to make a movie every 4 years. Yeah, that's smart, isn't it? He's always the weakest actor on screen. I'm not really much of a fan of Tom Holland, honestly. I don't really enjoy him that much, but I'm glad other people get to enjoy Spider-Man because Marvel hadn't had much to offer me in the last couple of years. Anyway, Tracer. While Tracer's damage has landed in an effective spot following recent adjustments, reducing recall's cooldown allows her to disengage more frequently. Chronal Dash minor perk removed, temporary regen minor perk, new passive health regeneration triggers 50% faster, recall reduced to 12 seconds. Sure. Every time a Tracer patch comes through, I'm just like, whatever. You know, I'm not even mad when they change the damage per bullet anymore. I don't even care. I'm just like, oh, whatever. They're just going to fiddle around with numbers to tweak win rate, and it's not going to change anything. I think the Tracer's more interesting on 12 seconds because I like cooldowns to be under 12 seconds in general. Cooldowns above 12 seconds tend to be just boringly long instead of being interactively long. Because generally fights tend to last like 10 to 15 seconds. So if it ends up being 13 and over, generally you only have one use of it and you're inclined not to use it aggressively. So reducing it to 12 means that you can use it at the start of the fight and might be able to get it back by the end of the fight, which is in general good for most cooldowns. unless they're intended to be once per fight stuff. For instance, changing a cooldown from 15 to 17 seconds literally does nothing to the cooldown. It does nothing. It just you'd hold it even more, if you get what I mean. It doesn't actually reduce the power. They micro nerf and micro buff random heroes for no reason. I don't know. Yeah. I like Tracer more on 12. I don't know why they keep changing things randomly. Vendetta, reducing soaring slices. Cooldown on respawn. Reduces downtime after respawning while maintaining the reduced ability to quickly return to the fight. I have played a bit of Vendetta since. This is very strong. This has actually increased the power of Vendetta by a serious amount because, again, Vendettas do be feeding. They do be trading as well. It's one of the bad parts of not having any mitigation abilities for divers and flex DPS on the DPS category. It's very hard to peel for a Vendetta. It's very hard to peel for a Venture. If a Venture burrows into your backline, they're going to 1-for-1 with somebody, and you can't do shit to stop it. I'm going to be honest, they're just dead. Now, we should make it so flashbang and stuff like that is back in the game in the DPS category, so there actually is some stability to be found and some counterplay to be found to full trading. But before we do that, should we be increasing the power of just full trading with backlines? Probably not, but also it feels really bad to have 7 seconds out spawn, so I don't really care. I just like it so strong trade hero. And by the way, I play Vendetta, and this one right here is biased. This is pretty toxic, but I like it anyway because it helps me. Venture, ultimate cost reduced by 8%. Venture's ult's pretty weak, so probably reasonable. Deep Burrow minor perk dash distance increased from 50 to 75%. Covered in dirt, total shields gained increased from 30 to 40%. This is in combination with the reduce cooldown on shots, right? Shots and melee. So you can shot melee, shot melee, shot melee now, which seems fine. We'll see if this is good enough. I think Venture's in a very awkward position where they should be able to trade with tanks in a broad sense on the front line in bursts. Covered in Dirk might get to a point where once Venture gets to you, there's so much health on this character that you can't reliably trade with it. And they are just in your backline killing someone, and why even bother shooting them because they're dead anyway, if you get what I mean. Pretty good at tank trading in 66, agreed. I think the Burrow is very good at pulling tanks into your team. Jetpack Cat. These changes are intended to make Jetpack Cat's movement more responsive while keeping lifeline movement speeds similar to before. Frenetic flight movement speeds remain unchanged. Ult cost increased by 7%. Base movement speed increased from 5.5 to 6 meter per second. Acceleration increased from 7.7 to 9.5 meter per second. Headbutt major perk removed. And perfect form major perk new. Each pulse of perk contains 3 waves. And lifeline movement speed bonus reduced from 40% to 30%. The moment I saw this, I knew it was going to be awful. The only reason that Per is not incredibly OP is because it's incredibly backloaded. It does 30 damage and healing per wave, and it is ridiculously good. Being able to just like instantly impulse 90 damage, then 90 damage into somebody. It basically guarantees a kill if you're going to walk into them. At least with the other way, you go into them, there'd be 3, and then there'd be 4, so there'd be 90 damage and 120 damage. But if you could clear that amount of health, you're basically okay against a Jetpack Cat. Now there is a relentless onslaught of damage coming into you, and they can basically stay there forever until you die, which is awful. Before, you couldn't really engage on the 1 wave, you couldn't really engage on the 2 wave. If you already were engaged, it took a while to wear up, and therefore you had time to counterplay. And basically, this has made Jetpack Cat ridiculously strong, and I want to hurt the person that did this. I want to make them and their family poor. I want them to be poor people. I want them not to have any educational opportunities. I want them to feel bad about their lives. This is obviously very, very plainly on the face of it, ridiculously overpowered. It is ridiculous. But to be clear, I do not envy the person trying to balance Jetpack Cat, because Jetpack Cat is obviously a utility-based DPS character who is feigning being a support while not actually being a support. So it's very hard to make a character that has free movement and flanking potential at all times balance when they also have to pull up the throughput healing roll at some points. So we just boost the healing by what was it 14% by just increase. I don't know. It's just an unfixable problem. The character needs to be put into the DPS role, I think, in 5v5. I think it's JPC is okay in open queue though. Yep, especially with the demons with their pew pew blaster keeping her away. Juno! This change reduces the minimum lock-on time for nearby targets, allowing Pulsar Torpedo to be used more reactively, while creating a clearer distinction in lock-on times across different ranges. Target lock-on minimum time reduced from 0.5 to 0.35 seconds. No! Bad. Do not do this. This is a dual slop. This is bad. This is a 5v5 change, pretty obviously. I want Pulsars to be an AoE component, big burst of resources ability, and not a guaranteed to hit somebody in a duel so Juno can kill them ability. I also think, by the way, the Juno headshots are still bad, just awful. I'm not very happy with this. This is skins money change? Skins money. Oh no, I'm getting shot ability. Yeah, I don't want this to be a dueling ability. It's just awful. Life Weaver. I know something about this. I know the pull has been changed to be slower. These changes give life gripped players greater control over whether they're pulled all the way to Life Weaver's position. The pull now begins more gradually, creating a larger window to react and cancel the movement. A new hero setting has also been added for players who prefer to disable the cancel option early. Life Grip can now be manually cancelled with the jump input after 0.6 seconds. Base pull speed reduced from 30 to 25 meters per second. Targets pulled from further than 15 meters move slower and accelerate over time. New general hero setting added for disabling Life Grip cancel control. So I have had spoilers that Life Grip is cancelable with jump, and it seems like people when they're dying tend to spam the jump button, which that's my personal opinion. Now, the Life Weaver community is not very happy because this is a straight nerf to Life Grip. So why didn't we reduce the cooldown of the ability at the same time if we actually wanted to be able to test it? This just seems stupid. I do not know how this shit goes through in the game. Where they do something like this. This is such an interesting rework, but it's a nerf, so they don't give it a compensation buff at the same time. It makes it so that nobody can treat this honestly in the community because they have to hate it because... So, I think this is generally okay-ish for him, and could probably, if it was slow enough, and it didn't give immortality while it was being pulled, it can still cleanse, but not immortality. It should have about half the cooldown that it currently does, or significant refund on the cooldown when you pull somebody who's on over 70%, 85% health, right? Genuinely. As it is right now, this is hot garbage. Needed to happen. I think that we could have preserved Life Grip being cancelable, but I get why they want it to make it so that people can counterplay when their teammate pulls them off a cliff. I get it, but still, spacebar is a intuitive button as well. There will need to be very big effects on the screen to tell you that it's happening, but it is a solution. It just needs to come with a very, very big Life Grip buff at the same time and have the immortality removed from it. Otherwise, I mean, it's just press the immortality button. Okay, well, they're immortal, and it's just sad, isn't it? Don't you think? Mizuki's mobility uptime has increased significantly following recent changes to returns duration and cooldown. While the increased duration has improved its usability, agreed, the cooldown is being partially reverted to reduce overall uptime. I think it was a bit too high. The win rate went up massively, if I remember. Binding chain's projectile size is also being reduced to make it powerful hinder effect require more precise aim. So quick step, movement speed gain reduced to 20% on the major perk. Maybe that was too good. I never really picked it in 6v6 because if I was playing Mizuki, I was always playing with speed, and it was really, really, really good on 25, don't get me wrong, but I would also really like to stats pad out with the hat perk, because the hat perk is ridiculous, being able to bounce off 4 targets and then heal you for the total amount of healing, because it's going to keep increasing on each one target. At the end, it increases your sustain by such a ludicrous amount that you kind of can't not pick it. Kishore return, 12 seconds, probably fine. Binding chain projectile size reduced from 0.35 to 0.3. Excellent. The classic 5v5 scenario. Make it really hard to hit the ability, but make the ability, if you do hit it, instant kill the enemy. Oh yeah, great. We shouldn't reduce the efficacy and the cooldown or anything like that and make it so it's an active ability that they can play around and it doesn't insta-kill them if they do get hit by it regardless, and it just takes a lot of resources from them. No, it's an insta-kill ability on a 20-second cooldown, and it's got a really low projectile size, so good luck hitting it. And if you don't hit it, you're dead. Yay, yay, 5v5 design. I'm going to start cancelling good Life Grip to spite Life Weaver players. Based. Wu Yang, increasing Guardian Wave's width makes it easier to position the ability to affect multiple allies and enemies. Degree increase from 10 to 15 degrees. Can we also decrease the efficacy of it in Sec V6, please? Wu Yang is really good in Sec V6. Not many people play him, weirdly enough, but he is very good, especially with a duo. And the wave's a big part of it because the heal amp is very strong. Zenyatta, Discordant Repair, Lifesteal increase from 10 to 15%, basically not a change. And then we also have the demon changes of Plasma Saver, damage increase from 60 to 65, Propulsive Fuel Drain Rate reduced from 40 to 25, Fuel Regen Rate increased from 15 to 22.5, and the damage for the Fusion Repeater has been increased to 16 from 15, and the cooldown been reduced to 4. I think this is a great place for Demon. I think Demon's in an amazing state right now. I'm really happy with them. Basically no changes. I want the baby form to be doing 16 damage, the same as the Fusion Repeater. No reason why it shouldn't be. And I want the Plasma Saver to have, it's currently 4 meters range, maybe like 4.5. And I think that's good. It will line up with the animations. And I think that's it for the patch notes.